They called the police on me for being on my own property. Yeah, you heard that right. The HOA thought they could boss me around, even on land they didn't own. But when the cops showed up, they got the shock of their lives. Because I didn't just own the ranch they were complaining about, I owned the entire business complex they were standing on. This is the story of how a power-hungry HOA tried to pick a fight, and accidentally messed with the landlord. My name's Daniel Carter, and for most of my life, I stayed far away from drama. I ran a small but successful agricultural supply business out of a big ranch-style office just outside of town. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. My staff loved the place. We had open fields, a small stable, and a wide front porch where clients would sit and sip coffee while waiting for appointments. Life was peaceful, until the Willow Creek HOA moved in next door. They just developed a gated community right beside my land, and their president, Karen Miles, thought she ran the whole area like some kind of queen. At first, it was little things. Complaints about too many trucks in the driveway. Notes about unsightly farm equipment. One even said, "Please remove the animals from view of our residents." I laughed it off. My ranch was zoned commercial agricultural, and I'd been there long before their fancy HOA ever existed. But then, things escalated. One Monday morning, I arrived at work and noticed no parking signs along my office lot, brand new, with the HOA logo on them. I thought, wait, what? Then one of my employees, Sarah, came running up. "Mr. Carter, they're towing the delivery truck." I ran outside. Sure enough, a tow truck was hooking up my company vehicle. I stopped him. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" He said. The HOA called. Said this truck violates community parking rules. Community parking rules? Buddy, this is private property. Just then, Karen herself showed up, clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, full of attitude. "Mr. Carter," she said in that condescending tone, "your business is creating an eyesore for our residents. You can't just clutter the area with farm trucks and machinery." I tried to stay calm. "This isn't your jurisdiction, Karen. My property isn't under HOA control." She crossed her arms. "That's debatable. The HOA extends influence over all bordering lots within the community's vicinity. You'll need to comply." I couldn't believe the arrogance. "I've got a better idea," I said. "How about you take your influence and move it off my land?" She glared, stormed off, and muttered, "You'll regret this." And oh boy, she made sure of that. 2 days later, I was hosting a meeting in my ranch office when I saw flashing lights outside. 3 police cars pulled up, sirens blaring. My employees looked panicked. "What's going on?" Sarah asked. I stepped outside, and an officer approached me. "Sir, we got a call from the HOA about unauthorized business activity on this property." I laughed. "Unauthorized? Officer, this is my business." He looked confused. "They said you were trespassing on HOA-controlled land." I handed him my property deed. "Take a look. This land's been in my family for 40 years. Zoned commercial, owned free and clear." He studied the document, then looked toward the HOA president, who was standing smugly on the sidewalk recording everything with her phone. I said loudly, "Karen, you really called the police on me for standing on my own property?" She sneered. "This whole complex is within HOA boundaries. You can't just run a farm out of an office here. You're violating community codes." The officer turned to her. "Ma'am, according to this, Mr. Carter owns this property outright. You have no jurisdiction here." But Karen wasn't done embarrassing herself. She said, "We'll see about that. Our legal team will handle it." She stormed off again, but this time I decided I was going to handle it. That night, I stayed up digging through property records, zoning maps, and county archives. And that's when I made a discovery so wild it made me laugh out loud. The HOA's new Willow Creek Estates wasn't just beside my ranch, it was built on leased land. And that leased land belonged to me. You see, years ago, I'd bought nearly 200 acres around the area and leased out parts of it for development. including the section where the HOA built their community. Which meant, not only did I own my ranch office, I owned the ground under their neighborhood, their clubhouse, and even Karen's house. They'd been harassing their own landlord. I met with my lawyer the next morning. He looked at the paperwork, smiled, and said, "You've got them by the leash." We drafted a letter, formal, direct, and devastating. It stated that the HOA had violated multiple clauses of their land lease, engaged in harassment and attempted interference with business operations, and trespassed by placing signs and towing vehicles from property not under their control. And unless they issued a formal apology and retracted all false claims, I would terminate their lease agreement, forcing the entire HOA community to either buy the land at market value or vacate within 60 days. When the notice was delivered, I heard the HOA board meeting turned into chaos. Residents were furious. Karen's phone wouldn't stop ringing. By the next day, the entire town was talking. Karen requested a peace meeting at the HOA clubhouse. I showed up, calm and collected, with my lawyer by my side. She tried to start friendly. "Mr. Carter, we might have gotten off on the wrong foot. Surely, there's a way to work this out without drastic measures." I smiled. "Karen, you called the police on me for standing on land I own. I'd say we passed wrong foot a while ago." She shifted nervously. "We didn't know you owned." I cut her off. "That's the problem. You never checked. You just assumed your little HOA ran the whole world. You built your fences, posted your signs, and forgot one thing." I slid the paperwork across the table. "You're all standing on my dirt." The room went silent. Even the other HOA board members looked shocked. My lawyer continued, "Mr. Carter is prepared to terminate the community lease immediately unless a written apology and financial settlement are agreed upon today." Karen's voice cracked. You wouldn't evict hundreds of families, would you?" I said, "No. But I'd happily sell the land to a developer who would." You could hear a pin drop. 2 weeks later, the HOA caved. They issued a public apology, removed every no parking sign, and paid damages for my business losses. But the best part? Karen was voted out by her own community. The new HOA board reached out to me with respect, and we worked out a proper business agreement. But I wasn't done yet. I took the lease buyout money and used it to expand my agricultural brand, bought up nearby properties, built warehouses, and turned the whole area into a thriving ranch-to-retail business park. That ranch office the HOA tried to control? It became the headquarters of Carter Agri Corp., one of the fastest-growing rural supply companies in the region. And yes, technically, I still collect rent from the HOA every month. They have no choice. I own the land their homes sit on. So what's the takeaway here? Never let someone convince you they have power over you, especially when they don't even know who they're dealing with. The HOA thought they could intimidate me with rules and threats. But at the end of the day, they were standing on my ground. They called the cops on the landlord. And all they got was a hard lesson in humility. So the next time someone tries to flex their fake authority on you, just smile. Because karma doesn't always knock. Sometimes it owns the property. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, drop a comment saying, "Don't mess with the landlord." And don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable, real lifestyle stories every week. Because sometimes, the best revenge is simply owning the ground they stand on.